Welcome back, everyone, and we are back with another video. So today we're going to be working on Microsoft SharePoint Server 2019. We're going to build it out from scratch, go through the installation, and then do the setup so that we can get started to getting the full SharePoint services online. So this is more like the backend. Regular users, from a development standpoint, never really see the installation of SharePoint. They go to the web interface and normally they just log in and they use SharePoint on the front end. But as technicians or developers, half of the time when we're working, we're using SharePoint on the back end. All right. So we're going to work from the back and go forward. We're going to develop SharePoint on the back end, show you how everything is installed. And then from there, we'll take you all the way forward to setting up a website and all that good stuff. Probably not going to do a website on this video. It's probably going to be very long, so we'll cut it up in multiple pieces, different segments, so that it's not too long and drawn out. So without further ado, I have my desktop, and we're going to go ahead and fire up a few boxes. So this is my Hyper-V, and the first thing I want to do is I need to open up Hyper-V. I need to also bring in the SharePoint box that I'm working on. And then I'm going to need SQL. So if you were following along in my last videos, you'll notice that I've brought in SQL and I've built it out because we're going to use SQL standalone server for a lot of our services, like I mentioned, SharePoint, WSUS, MDT, SCCM. So all of those new applications that we're going to build come later, we're going to tie them to our monster SQL. Now you can do multiple SQL servers. You don't have to use one. You can also do what's called a failover with different SQL servers. But for this lab, we're going to use the SQL that we built out so that you can see how everything works on the operation level. So for SharePoint, remember I talked about service accounts. What we want to do, or what we need to do, first and foremost, I'm going to log into my DC and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an account that we're going to use to manage, just like how we did WSUS. I'm going to create another account to manage SharePoint. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to users and I'm going to go to new and I'm going to create a new user. This guy will be called SP admin. So SharePoint admin, login will be the same. Right there. This is all we need. Right. We're going to click next. So we're going to uncheck this box. Password never expires. And then we're going to put in the password to use for this guy. All right, so good to go. Now, once we are here, I'm going to go ahead and also create a group. And I'm going to call this group SharePoint admins. Right, and I'm going to make sure that I give the permissions to the groups, because we don't give permissions to users, we give permissions to groups. Best policy, best practices. All right, so we're going to do SP admin. We're going to find that guy. We're going to add him here into this group. So that means he's a part of this group, and then this group is going to be a member of. And let's search. So we're going to make them a member of admins, which is fine. And actually, yeah, that's fine. So let's add another one. We need domain admins so that we can make some changes as well. And then there's one additional group I need. So I'm going to go to find now, and I'm going to make this guy, this group, a part of my schema. So this group is a part of those groups, and then that administrator is a part of that group. So it should have inherited rights. Okay, so users created. The user has some groups. Like I said, always go by your SOP for your unit or for your organization, right? This is just a lab, so we're just playing around, right? But on a serious note, when you're doing the organization, same steps that we're doing will apply, but just remember, different permissions will be based on your unit's policy, organization policy. Now we need to go to SQL, and what we need to do on SQL, that user that we created on Active Directory, since this is a database, you need to give that user now access to this database. So if you go onto the database, nothing is created yet. We need to go over to security and go under logins. And if you notice, right, that user is not here. So we want to go ahead and do new login. And since it's a Windows authentication, we're going to go to search, and I'm going to go advanced, go find now, and let's go ahead and find right here the account that we created earlier. So where are you? Might have to do a refresh because I created this while this was open. No biggie. So we're just going to restart this SQL Server because I don't think it's picking up that account because I just created it while this was open and running. So we'll restart it so that we can get back into Active Directory, and it should pick up the accounts that just got created. So wait for it. All right, let's try again. New login, Windows, search. Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm searching in SQL01. The location is where I was searching. I need to search into the entire directory. Oops, rookie mistakes. All right, let's go to advanced, click find now, and now we're on the domain. And this is where we're going to search for. Where is my SharePoint user? Okay, so I do see my name and I don't see the ones that I just created. So that means it's a replication issue. All right, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and log out of this real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and close out. All right, and then let's go back and log in. All right, so now we're going to authenticate. Windows authentication is fine right there. And let's click connect. And let's go to security again. Let's go to login, new login. And we're going to search. We need to create a new login name. We want to make sure the location is in the entire directory. So the domain, that's right where. And we're going to go find now. And let's look for that account. So I see the SharePoint admin right here now. See? SharePoint admin, and we created that account over here earlier. SB admin right there. So that is the account that we're looking for. I'm not sure if I scroll past this earlier because I came all the way down here and I'm like, What's going on? That's it's kind of weird. It was probably there. But anyways, this is the guy we're looking for. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and click OK. So this is the guy we're looking for, and then now we need to add or set up the permissions properly. There's about 4 key permissions you want to give this guy for your SharePoint. All right, so we're gonna go to roles, and right here, public is number 1. This guy also needs to be a DB creator. He needs to be a sysadmin, and there's one more. I think it was. Let me see my notes. Sysadmin, security admin. There you go. So minimum these 4 roles that you will need for SharePoint. DB creator, so that they can create databases, public access, security access, and sysadmin. Default 4 roles that you'll need to try to get this up and running. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now that we have that, we can go here and see that SP admin is now joined to the family. All right, good to go. So that's one piece of the pie. The database, nothing's here yet. So let's go to now SharePoint. We need to, well, this is some just basic stuff, but I want to make sure that I give this an IP address because I don't want it changing later. So let's check my cut sheet out. Let's see what I have authorized for SharePoint. So SP will be right here. .1.99. So SharePoint is the lucky user of 99. All right, so we're going to turn our numlock and do 172.16.1.99, last number before 3 digits, and then 172.16.1.1, and then DNS 172.16. And I apologize, I should have did this before to kill some time, but it's a new box, so bear with me. We're trying to do everything from scratch. 12. Okay, so this is good to go. Now we have this joined to the network. Few more things that we need to prep this box for. So I need to bring this over a little bit so you can see. Let's go ahead and change the name. So we're gonna call this PC name. If you search for PC name, it normally shows up about this via PC name. And over here, you can scroll down to advanced and change. And we're gonna call this SP01, which is good. Click OK. The other stuff I'm not worried about, like the firewall and all that, because I'm running GPOs on the network to disable all that stuff once it's joined to the network. So it helps out a lot for baseline. And once you could use GPOs to set a lot of baseline objects from your domain, so you don't have to constantly do all of that stuff, like set the default DNS server, set up your updates policy, folder redirection, mapping share drives, mapping printers. I mean, I think GPO is the boss, man. It's the boss. All right, this normally cranks out when it restarts, so let's go back and fire this guy up, because not that one SP running somewhere, I could tell. There you go. All right, let's log back into SharePoint. All right, so there's one thing that is left for this, and we should get the ball going. I'm gonna go ahead and join this to the domain real quick. Like I said, I apologize. I should have did this before. It saves a lot of time with the restart, but no biggie, no biggie. Stay with me. Trying to run through this as fast as possible with you guys. All right, the name is good. Let's join this to the domain. There we go. And bam. While this is happening, I want to go ahead and insert a disk for this. I'm going to add SharePoint to this box. So basically, I went to Microsoft and downloaded SharePoint. It's really easy to find if you don't know how to find it. I can show you real quick. So you go to this link right here, Microsoft.com Evaluation Center, evaluate SharePoint, and then when you get there, download the image. I converted the image file over to an ISO so that I can mount it on my box. It's really easy to do. Just copy the files and then create an ISO. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, just let me know. I'll help you guys out. But this is where you'll find it. Everything is normally in the Microsoft Evaluation Center. So just to go off topic, if you go down here, you'll see so much stuff. Servers, different versions of servers you can test out right there. Hyper-V servers, Windows Admin Center, SQL, different versions. I like to try the new versions as they come out just to see the new changes. You can compare with last year and the years before. SCCM, we're going to do this demo later. So much more. Microsoft, like it's oh my gosh, it's endless. So you have the ability to test a lot of these things before you implement them. And that's what I love about Microsoft. All right, let's go ahead and log in. Now, make sure when you're logging in, you need to be logging in now as not a local. We don't need local no more. We're going to be logging in as domain administrator. So, oh boy, I'm always messing this up. Next series of labs, I'm going to create a name that doesn't have IE on it. Maybe like mastermind. All right. Oh, there's an I in mastermind, huh? Weird. But it's just one I. The E's in the master, I guess. Anyways, this is logging in. So once this is in, we're going to start the installation of SharePoint. So don't mind my group policies, they're running. And this normally takes a little longer, so I'm going to just pause. All right, so we are ready to go. SharePoint box is up and running. And let's go ahead and get in here. So this is SQL. You can minimize you for a little bit, and let's get over here. All right, so we're going to minimize this because this is not an add role function what we're working with. It's going to be installing from a disk. So the disk drive is here that has Office Server on there. We're going to go down and we are going to go to a few things. If you run setup first and you do yes, you're going to see that it's going to prepare the necessary files to start. However, SharePoint is the one. There you go. I was about to tell you this. This is a list of prereqs that are needed. You cannot install it until you do the prereqs. So that's what I was about to show you. All of these, they're not installed, can't go further. So great thing Microsoft included a prereqs installer. You can double check and it will show you everything that's needed that you can walk through. So all of these needs to be installed first, right? Back in the day, it would just show the list of stuff and you had to go out there and find each one of them and download it. It used to be painful, but thank God they gave us an installer. So we're just going to go ahead and run the prereqs for all of these and let them go through. Now, I'm not going to sit here and let you watch all my prereqs install. I think that would be painful. So, where is my mouse? You need to make sure that all your prereqs are installed one by one. So run through this first, and then I will see you on the back end. If you're having issues, for example, mine just triggered an error. WIS's role is not configured. That means, let's do it together before I log off. This is telling me that I need to install this because it skipped everything. And then I have to finish this. But all of those were skipped because that role, this role was needed. So let's go to Server Manager. Let's add this role, because SharePoint does run on a web interface. IIS is needed. So we need to go ahead and install web IIS. Add this feature. Wait, next. I'm gonna go ahead and click. I think .NET Framework is also needed as well, so I'm gonna do that as well. And then we're gonna install. Okay, so these, as you can see, yep, I was right. So .NET Framework 4.7 is already installed, so no action is taken. So it was gonna skip that anyways. I remember downloading these one by one back in the past. This used to be a nightmare. But I'm installing the role right now. I'm gonna click finish. And what's happening? So it didn't like something. Gave me an error. All right, let's tackle through this. Right, so let's see what we need to fix. Sometimes when this happens, you might have to clear out and fix certain things. So let's do this by itself. See if it will take just WIS without .NET. Let's pause real quick, and then I'll come back whenever it's finished. So this is going to be complete enough. How we looking? How we looking? Do I need to pause? Oh, you got this. I think it's coming in fine. Either way, I'll pause. All right, so IIS was good to go. We're going to click close, and then let's go back to our prereqs. And let's see if we pass that stage. So let's try this again, because it needs to configure that role for it to work. So if that role is not installed, you will have issues. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and restart this box. Since we already have this installed, we had some issues over here earlier, right? So good things, good practices. Let's restart this box. Okay, be right back. All right, guys, so we are back, and I think I figured out what the problem was. It is a Windows Server update issue. So if you ever run into this and you have WSUS configured like I do, if WSUS is not configured to give this update to your machine, it won't be able to pull these from Microsoft. So what we're going to do, we need to go over to my DC, and we need to exempt this box. So what I have inside of my right here, my WSUS has been pushed to the entire domain. So let's go ahead and fix this real quick. So I'm going to go to Active Directory, and these are my sites, and I have domain controllers here, right? And my computers are all in here. So I need to clean this up first, because if this is not clean, it's going to push the updates to everywhere, and it's gonna cause some problems. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna create a new OU, and this OU is gonna be called domain servers. Okay, and then inside of domain servers, all the computers that I have here, I'm gonna move them. SharePoint right here is one of them, and WSUS. All right, so now let's go ahead and refresh AD. So my domain servers are right under my domain controller, and my sites, I'm gonna apply that GPO only to the site. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, and then I'm gonna remove it. And then on the site itself, only to the site is where I'm gonna link that GPO, where it's Windows Server WSUS, and then enforce it only on this site. So not the entire domain. Okay, so that means only computers that are in this site will get that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fix this. So computers over here need to go into New York and Hawaii. So Hawaii systems and New York, obviously. So computers, this one belongs to Hawaii. I will put this under Hawaii powered systems. And then under New York, I'm supposed to build out New York. So we can do new OU, and this is going to be called NY dash that will be the name of it. And this computer, since it's a New York computer, will go under here. So I needed to clean up AD first, because I didn't clean this up because I was building out. And the problem we're having is because WSUS is now pushing its policy to everything that's on the network, and we don't need that. Okay, because now I don't want it to apply to everybody, especially domain servers and controllers. I don't want that applying over here. So we'll clean that up. All right, so we're gonna refresh this group policy on here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a GPU update on this. So let's do a GPU update slash sync, which is going to allow me to restart this DC right here and fix that issue. We're going to close this out. And I'm going to also do a GP update. On here as well. Come on, I'm logged in as admin. Stop the madness. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut down my SharePoint as well. And DC is restarting, SharePoint is restarting. I'm gonna log back in. I'm gonna pause the video and then we're gonna log back in again to test this. All right, so after we made those changes, we're back. So now let's go back and check on my SharePoint box. I'm gonna check the update settings, and we're gonna see what it looks like. All right, so the GPO is cleared from this box, and also on the server, once I move them around, it's cleared as well from the DC. So this should be the fix. If you had that issue before, or if you ever had that problem, it's it's a small issue that can cause you some headaches. So let's try this again. Let's see if we can get through this. If it doesn't work, then gotta do some more troubleshooting. But I think that was one of the issues it was having, is trying to connect to Microsoft.com to download the IS, and I think it was preventing it from going forward. So we'll see. Let's take a look and see if it goes past or triggers any errors at this time. So key things to note: you need to have an internet connection for your SharePoint box. It needs to be able to connect, and you can't have it connect to a SQL server that's not pushing those type of updates. Okay, so just these are things you might want to jot down on your list. Normally it would fail at this point, so it haven't failed. So I think we may be looking good, but I'm gonna let it go for a little bit longer and see if anything happens. So we're past the 1 minute mark, and it's looking good. It hasn't been past 1 minute since we started last time because it was failing. It couldn't connect. All right, so I think this is good enough for a pause. So I'm gonna pause. I didn't get any arrows back at the start point, so I will continue once we get to the end. All right, just a quick update. So it seems like it took it, because now looking at the box, it's updating and installing additional prereqs, and they're actually going pretty fast. So if you just take a look real quick, you'll see that it's now trying to install the WCF data services 5.6, and as you can see, they're actually moving. So that means the update was the issue. We had an internet problem, and as you can see, look, you can see it's moving. So this is good. So now we know what the problem was. If you ever have that problem, you can attend and fix it in-house. Okay, so there we go. Just looking at it right now. Let's go down. So IS role was configured successfully. That's good. Native client, great. Framework, successful. Success. Everything is success. App, success. 4.7, so no action taken. And then Visual C++, 20. So everything that we needed was really successful. So there we go. So now we can go ahead and restart this box, and when we run the new when we run SharePoint now, it should find all the prereqs and then give us the go ahead to start the process to install. I'm gonna, in case this updates take a little while, let's pause here and then log back in. All right, so we are back, and all the updates seems to have went through successfully. Let's drag this over a little bit so you can see a little bit clearer. So installation complete. It says all prereqs have been installed or enabled, and as you can see, we got the go that everything we needed was successfully installed. Let's go back to our Office server for SharePoint. Prereqs was good, so let's go ahead and try to run setup, and let's see if it screams at us this time. All right, so product key. Normally on you'll have to go online to find one of these to use it, and it's the same site that I was telling you for SharePoint. You'll go to the server, and then you'll have to try to find the version or whatever it gave you, and let's see if we can find the key that we can use. So remember, I was showing you guys, when you come here and you do the install, it's going to tell you to do the install. So this is where you're going to find your key, right? So when you come to SharePoint Online, you're going to come here and you're going to go to English version, and you will see right here. And you're going to scroll all the way down, and it will show you the product key that you need to do the install. So let's go ahead and copy this over, and then you're going to install, you're going to actually type this in. Okay, so let's swing back over to our server real quick. All right, so now that you know where to get that key that we're going to need to get this box up and running. Uh-oh, it locked up on me. Log back in. So this is, like I showed you, where that's where you'll get your key to get in for this installation. So let's go ahead and do M6 9 2 Golf 8 November 2 Juliet Papa Golf 8 Bravo 2 Whiskey 2 Papa 7 Yankee 7 Juliet 6. And that should be good to go to start the installation. Now we're going to accept the terms of agreement. You can read all of this. I don't think anyone ever read this, honestly. If you do, please let me know what it says at the bottom. All right, so file location where we want to install SharePoint. Now, I am a firm believer of never installing anything on your C drive that's not required. So I think I did create a new drive. So let's check this out. Let's go to disk management and see if I have some space over there. I think I have a drive that I haven't touched that is sitting somewhere. So there we go. We got 39 gigs. This is a C drive. We got 39 gigs of file space. So let's go ahead and format this, and we're going to call this SharePoint, or just call it data. I like to just use data. NTFS is fine, and we're going to click OK, and then we need to give this guy a drive letter. So we're going to click add. Let's see what's available. D is taken. Let's go with S for SharePoint. Click OK, and then now we have the S drive open, 40 gigs roughly, and we can now use that to do the installation. So everything here, we're just going to change it, and I'm going to put it on the S drive. Okay, so S and then S, and that's where we're going to do all the installation for SharePoint. Now go ahead and click install now, and if you go in here, you should see everything going to be installed on the S drive. And there you have it. We have started the process of installing Microsoft SharePoint Server 2019. I'm going to go ahead and pause here because this might be a lengthy process. Ooh, it's moving fast, but we'll see. And then I will start back again up once we get to the end. All right, so we have got to the end. The configuration wizard has gone completed, and now we can run the configuration wizard here. So in order to complete system boot is necessary. Let's go ahead and push this out. And like at a restart, depending on the updates, it will take a little bit. So let's see how long it takes for this to actually go through. Oh, getting updates ready. You know what this means. So pausing again, let this run. All right, so once you restart, you will get a pop-up box, and then it's going to ask you if you want to make changes. Then it will take you here. Welcome to SharePoint products. That means If you see this, you have successfully installed SharePoint, and also the prereqs were good, so you can go ahead. So now you're going to need to get the database server of the database for the form to be stored, and also the username and password for the account. So remember in the beginning where we created the account, that's what we're talking about, and then we also linked it to SQL. So if you have a SQL and you set it up just like me, that's what's going to that's what's going to need to take place right now. Okay, so click yes to start the services. We're going to click yes. We are going to connect now to an existing server form or create a new server form. We don't have a server form, so we're going to create a new server form and click next. Database server. Now this is the one where I was telling you the database server should be SQL-01, and then the username was the username that we created earlier, right? So it should be -SPADMIN, and then whatever password you gave it. And now let's test this. Okay, so the username is invalid. The account must be a valid domain account. All right, so only one thing I can see, I did make some changes to my NIC card. Maybe I need to double check to make sure it is not turned off. Yep, I did disable this NIC card when I was doing the install. This NIC card is connected to the internet, and this one is to my home lab. So let's turn this off right now and work on the home lab. Let's try to see if we can we ping our DC and SharePoint. So ping 172.16.1.11. That's the domain controller. All right, good to go. And then what was the, let's ping our SQL box, which is 81. Okay, we need to be able to talk to those two guys. All right, there you go. So we should be able to ping them. So let's check again. There we go. So that was the issue. All right, so the passphrase is something that you use to secure configuration data, and is required for each server that joins the form. Now, something you need to know from here: you can't change this after you create it. Okay, it's something you need to always remember. So make sure you remember this passphrase, because it didn't even tell you the passphrase can. Oh, it can be changed. Oh, that's good to know. I don't know why I thought I always read this wrong, that you can't change it afterwards. So this is actually good to know. You can change it later. So let's call this, give it a name. Let's call this, what should we call this? Let's give it a passphrase. I hate making up stuff because sometimes I don't remember them myself. So I'm gonna just go with something simple that I can remember. Oh, it needs to be a it needs to be a whole password. Jesus. All right, so there we go. A whole password. It should say password instead of passphrase. All right, now the server role, how you want to do it. You want to do front end, application, distribution, cache, search, shared roles, and then the special roles that you want to configure. So this is where you want to, if you want to set up this for front end, applications, services, whatever, that's how you're going to do it. If it's just an application, that's what it will look like, right? Distribution, cache, or search, right? So you can literally set up multiple different ways. We're going to go with front end for this one, and then front end with distributed cache, and then we can do custom if we want. We're going to do just the roles. So, so I can do dedicated. Nice. This is a new change since If I'm doing shared roles, I can do front end with distribution cache. So it's like these two combined. If I wanted to do a custom, I guess I can do and select all the applications that I wanted to configure. They make it a little bit friendly. This port, we can specify the port number. So a SharePoint web application allow you to manage over a certain port, right? This is a port that you can specify. If you don't specify the port, they're going to choose a random number between 1 and 655. Let's try our luck and see. Okay, so now this is how our database server, this is where it will be applied. This database name will be created on our SQL Server. In order to get to your central administration URL, you will need to add this into your browser to get there. Okay, and this is the name of your server. Obviously, this should be a good place that you try to either screenshot or take a photo. So if you don't remember how to get there, you have it saved. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and click next. And we're going to go ahead and perform these steps. Not a place for us to take a pause until 10 out of 10 is completed, okay? Right, so it is done. And the wizard basically said that our configuration was successful. This takes a long time to do the install. But needless to say, you want to save this information here again, and then just go ahead and click finish. Once you're complete, it's going to go ahead and log into the admin console, which is up there. So you're going to log in with the account that you created earlier when we started. All right, so the SharePoint admin was what I used. So we're going to sign in here. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to help us to improve? I don't want to participate, so click OK. Now it's going to say, welcome to your SharePoint farm. You can use the wizard to start off, or you can cancel. If you start the wizard, basically, it will run you through all of the steps that you need to configure your farm for the first time. Okay, this is actually good because you can use an existing account right here. So your service account, click that, and then you can use it to build out everything you'll need. So if you want to accept the defaults, go ahead and click next. And this part, SharePoint takes a long time to do a lot of stuff, but also even though it says this shouldn't take long, it does take a few once you go through the process, you know, of creating everything on the wizard. So I'm gonna pause again and we'll be back. All right, guys, so we are back. I'm telling you, it takes a little while with SharePoint. There's a lot of waiting to get stuff done. So this is where you will start off by creating a whole new site collection after it goes through that step. So by default, as you can see, you got your team site, blogs, community, whatever. The site address, you can do /mysites if you want to make it a subsite of this URL, or my persona, or you can just leave it blank, so it will just be just like this, right? You can give it a description. So let's call this I have a good name. Let's say we're going to call this site Chief Tempo Blog. I like that. And this is just going to be a space for temp text right there. And then that's the title, that's the description. The URL is going to be a team site. You can choose different templates here. Like if you go to enterprise and you want to do like a business center, these are all just modern different templates, right, that are out there. If you want to do like a wiki, just click on them. They'll tell you exactly what you're building, right? If you have the codes and you want to do it from scratch, you can do that. But like I said, just go through, depending on what you want, or the type of site you're trying to build. Right there. Right? You can use them. Team sites, I'm going to go with just basic. Right? You can do community. This is where members can discuss common interests, browse relevant information, yada, 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 yada. This is a blank team site, no connections to the groups. So let's go with the community sites and we're going to click OK. You don't have to do this exactly. I'm just walking you through now. Just generic basic build. Okay, so here we go again. It's working on it. Shouldn't take long. That's what they say. But it normally, depending on the speed of your system, and I have a good powerful machine, and it still take a little bit. So we're gonna pause again and we'll be back. Alright, so we are back, and as you can see, the farm configuration wizard is done. Now the site URL, if I go ahead and click this and just open up in the new tab, you can see that this will be the template that we just created, just a default to get SharePoint started. This will be a backend for application management and all that good stuff. So when you want to get deeper into configuring SharePoint and stuff like that, you can run the wizard again. Always remember, once you go here and go to the admin portion, you will be able to do a lot of different stuff on the back end of it. On the front end, once you run this, you'll still have to log in. So we'll go SP admin and we'll try to log in here. And this video, I think, has served its purpose. Later on, we'll do another video to go full-blown setup of the front end of SharePoint. This was building basically the back end to get to the front end. So more as developers, we work on the back end of things. This is how you would build out SharePoint in the back end for your users to actually see it on the front end. So users normally, when they get in, they only see the front end, and that's where they're doing the website design, moving stuff around, creating applications and different document libraries and all that good stuff. That happens on the front end of it. That's where you have like your SharePoint administrators that work, but your SharePoint developers normally work on the back end. So that's where you have front end and you have back end developers. Okay, so we just finished configuring the back end. There's so much more stuff you can go over for this. And I think I might end up spending another video to build out SharePoint with different permissions and properties, building out the GPO, showing you how to connect certain strings and a whole bunch more on the back end that you probably don't get to see a lot from your standpoint. Okay, this is still loading, but like I said, everything in SharePoint in the beginning, it takes a while to load up. I'm going to try to see if this will stay here. Okay, so Nover, I don't want to say, but it seems like it's coming in. All right, so there we go. So you have your first site. This is your first blog. Shows up with a new discussion, how I wanted it. It's just basically a new page. So if I was supposed to send this out to all my users, this will be like a place where they can do new discussion. We can post different stuff. I could have all my members show up, and this is like a generic SharePoint page that we have built out. Okay, you can push this out to your users with GPOs. You can have it make it to be when they start up Internet Explorer, which doesn't exist, but whatever browser, it's now the default website. It's the first thing that comes up when they open it up, and all that stuff. We will cover that though in the next video. We've already spent 54 minutes just doing the install, and I've paused the video many times, so you can imagine if I haven't paused it how much time it would take just to do this install. It's a pretty big install, and we haven't even got to doing major configs yet, right? So guys, I think this is it for now. We're gonna sign off here, and we can continue when I start the new fresh install of administering SharePoint services and setting up sites and administering all that good stuff. So if you really appreciate this video, give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe, or ring that bell so you can get notifications when we post new videos. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.